Oh, hello. Why was I muted? Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of A Conversation with Kely. So we are in a period right now where, as you know, we don't have any Big Brother to talk about for a while. That's going to be in like August. We do have Big Brother coming this summer, but it's not going to be till like way later than we're used to. So it's going to be like in August. Survivor just ended and things like that. So we're kind of in this place where like we need new reality TV to start. And if you didn't watch our Survivor finale, I kind of hinted that this is what we're going to do. So we're talking about a brand new reality show that we literally knew nothing about, except for the fact that it involves space and celebrities. And we're like, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to try this out. So that is what we're here to do today. We're going to cover this show. And as always, though, I am here, my lovely beautiful co-host, Ellie. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I went for a walk today, and it's like very smoky and a little chilly today too. Like smoky because of the wildfires. So hopefully everyone stay safe, drink your water, and just protect yourselves. And then other than that, just kind of chilling today and seeing the new Transformers tonight. But yeah, and then also I'm very excited to cover the show. And also stay tuned. We're gonna have Claim to Fame season 2 coming up soon, so look forward to that. But yeah,
yes, I had the smoke. I had to deal with the horrible smoke last week. It was pretty terrifying, not gonna lie. I didn't know what was going on. It was it's not fun. So if you're in those areas, we wish you the absolute best, and everyone stay safe, because it's really no joke what's going on there. But yeah,
hey Janaea, we love you.
Hi, Janaea. Let's talk about this show, though, because I feel like both of us kind of went into it not really knowing what this is really going to be. What were your expectations going into this?
Obviously, going into this, I just did not know what to expect.
Yeah.
Because I thought it'd just be kind of stupid and dumb. But I mean, which it is, but like it is very self-aware.
We'll talk about what we think in a little bit. Yeah.
It like knows it, so I'm like, it's actually quite fun and entertaining. I love it.
Yeah, I went into this honestly with like the lowest of expectations. I thought this was going to be a show that like you and I watch one episode of and we're like, no, we're not covering this. This is horrible. And we would get on here and be like, here's what happened in episode 1. There's like nothing to talk about. And I won't lie, for the first couple minutes, I was like, I'm not doing this. This is awful. This is ridiculous. And I was kind of expecting this to be like a Beyond the Edge, where it's like we talk about it for like one episode and then we just kind of like cover the whole season when we're done and we don't really think about it after that. Just because like I feel like it's really hard to sell a new reality show just because there's so many, familiar formats out there and things like that. But I have to say, the more we got into this, I honestly really dug this a lot. I thought this was really creative. I thought this was a lot of fun. I thought it was honestly really strong production quality. Let me say that right now. The production quality on this is honestly some of the best I've ever seen in a reality show. There is no cheapness to be found whatsoever. They really went all out here. And also having like a surprisingly really fun cast. I feel like this is what a lot of people wanted Celebrity Big Brother to be, for those that were kind of like disappointed by it. Like, you have a cast here that is just way more into what they're doing, and I think because of that, it's that much better as a result. It's just one of the best instances of like, sometimes we always say like, all you really need to make a great reality show is just a really fun cast, and I feel like this is a great example of that. Like, this cast is a lot of fun, and I'm honestly really excited to be covering the rest of the show because I enjoyed this quite a bit.
Oh yeah, it's like so like original and different, so it's like really cool and like just enjoy.
Look, I'll say right now, are there things about the show that are obviously derived from Big Brother or Survivor? Yes, there are definitely moments here where you can say, this feels like Big Brother, this feels like Survivor, but I feel like they do enough that is different here to overall like make this stick out. So I really did enjoy this a lot. We're going to start off here talking about episode 1. So we're told in the beginning that there are 12 celebrities who have been chosen to embark on an unprecedented experiment to see if they can survive life on Mars. They are here to prove they have what it takes to survive and earn the title of the brightest star of the galaxy. And to prepare, they have created a simulation. It is a 24-day experiment which will test which celebrities are the brightest, the bravest, and when the food runs out, who can handle the stress most will falter and be extracted by the simulation. Like I said, this setup I thought was so cheesy. I was like, no, this is ridiculous. I don't want to watch this.
Also, I will say one thing that's just really funny is how he says in the beginning, "This is stars on Mars."
Yes, it's so great. I will say William Shatner is actually a really good host so far. Like he
is. I like him.
I like what he's doing so far. But we meet the celebrities, and if I had to have a complaint about this first episode, is that I don't think they did the best job at like introducing us to everyone. It felt like they really only focused on like a couple of them. And then I think the second episode, they did a better job of like showcasing everyone. But this one, I thought they didn't do the greatest job. We start off with Lance Armstrong, who he says that like he's always been fascinated by like the planets and stars and if there are other life forms out there. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so boring. Like when they were going to him. Ronda Rousey talks a little bit about how she was inspired to be part of this because she's such a big space nerd and that it's too late for her to become an astronaut. So this is the closest that she'll ever get. We see Tinashe, who she says that she says that she feels is going to be like a real like challenge for her. So that's something. Christopher Mintz-Plasse, who we'll get more into him in a little bit, but we don't have a ton to say about him in the show. There's Porsha Williams, who thinks that she can walk around in Mars if she's dealt with Atlanta. There is Ariel Winter, who is comfortable playing other characters and not herself because the world is harsh. And she did this show to get away from it when she has to be herself. It's an incredible challenge. We have Tom Schwartz from Vanderpump Rules, which here's the other thing I will say. As somebody who doesn't know like jack shit about Vanderpump Rules, this is not one of those shows where it feels like you have to know what's going on there to understand this. They're doing a good enough job to like get us to know these people without feeling like I have to do my homework and watch another show. That's why I don't want to watch the challenge, because I know it's very much like that. And so far, this is not like that so far, which I like.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Because like Tom Schwartz, he talks about how like he really chose to do this because he wants a break from reality. He wants a break from Vanderpump Rules. It's been derivative of the Housewives where people just argue and have sex with each other, and he doesn't want that going on here, which I thought that was a really fun introduction.
That was funny.
Yeah, we have Adam Rippon, who is honestly a really big scene stealer so far. I think he's a lot of fun.
I think he has just like really funny one-liners.
Yeah. Later on, we meet Natasha Leggero. We'll get to her in a little bit, but all she says in this first episode is that she's happy to cook chicken. That's why she's here. Then we have easily my favorite part of this entire show. Just carrying it so far. This incredible duo of Richard Sherman and Marshawn Lynch. Look, I am no NFL guy. I am the least like sports knowledge person you will ever know. I have no athleticism in me whatsoever, but I fucking love these two together. They absolutely like, make this show for me. I think their dynamic is so much fun.
It's so good.
Richard Sherman says that he's glad to have a friend in Marshawn because he's on Mars and there's nothing familiar about any of this. And Marshawn immediately has such a great introduction where he comes in and he says the sleeping arrangements are nasty as fuck. And he literally compares space to jail. I thought that was so funny.
He's so funny. He would be perfect on like Celebrity Big Brother.
Yeah, I mean,
like, get him with like LC and Logan from Time to Fame.
Just from this first episode, I can say right now, like he was born for reality TV. Like he absolutely is that kind of person where it's like, how has he not been on a reality show until this point? Because he is so good. Which, I mean, we know that he has like screen presence to him. If you've seen the show Murderville, it was basically this show where like they put them all in front of like they basically like Will Arnett was in on what was it was kind of like jury duty where like Will Arnett is in on what's happening. He's read the script. He knows how it's going to end, but the guest star does not. And so they have to like figure out the case on their own. And I thought his episode was like easily one of the best just because he was so great. He had such screen presence to him. And that really carries over here. I thought he was such a star in both of these episodes.
He was.
And then the only other person to talk about here is Tallulah Willis. We'll get into her in a little bit. But like I said, I thought the initial setup was a little bit rocky, where they all enter the space station. We see Christopher is the first one to enter. He goes through an immediate decontamination, which he's taken aback by. And he's brought into the celebrity hab, which is where it's going to be everyone's general home throughout the experiment. It includes the command center, living quarters, a gym, a biodome, male and female sleeping quarters, a dining room, and a fully equipped state-of-the-art kitchen, which he takes a drink and is told that it's poisoned, but then told that it's not. And honestly, I love how much the AI is like fucking with them. I assume it's like talking. It's like fucking with them already, where she's like, it's poison. And then she's like, just kidding, it's not. I thought that was great.
That's so great.
So Ronda is the next to enter, and I love the moment where like they're all like speculating who the celebrity is going to be, and she thinks it's going to be Matt Damon, and it's not.
That would be funny.
And then Tom Schwartz enters, and she's like, "That's not Matt Damon." I thought that was a really funny moment.
That was amazing.
And then the moment that sold me on the show, oddly enough, is when Tinashe entered and her helmet's like, she gets her hair like stuck in her helmet. Like just the way that was done, I was like, okay, this show knows exactly what it is. And I'm very much here for it. I thought moments like that were really funny. We see this moment where the second that Lance Armstrong is introduced, Ariel Winter gets him mixed up with Neil Armstrong and says that this is a common occurrence by 20-year-olds.
I will say
it's a common occurrence by 30-year-olds as well, because somebody else also did that.
I literally got the Armstrongs wrong. I'm like, what is wrong with me?
Well, I guess you should be besties with Ariel then, because you guys seem to...
I will say, so far, I think them and Ariel, Lance, and Marshawn are probably the standouts. Okay. And of course, Richard Sherman too.
Yeah, definitely. So Tom Schwartz is feeling a bit starstruck, especially by Christopher, because Superbad is one of his favorites. And I thought that was kind of a funny moment. But I will say, once we get this initial introduction by Shatner, this is really when the show like took off for me. So Allie's going to talk a little bit about what happens next.
All right. Once they've all arrived, they are given a message by host William Shatner. And he lets them know there are not enough rations for everyone, and those are not critical to the Mars simulation, and will be extracted and sent home every 48 hours. The most powerful role in their crew will be the base commander, who is in charge and will assign tasks and duties around the hab.
Basically, the HOH, like it's basically the same thing,
pretty much. And when emergency strikes, they will lead everyone on missions necessary for their survival, and their base commander will help determine who is and isn't mission critical, and they must now choose their base commander for the first 48 hours now.
And this is when I was really like sold on the show, because I was really worried this was just going to be like a bunch of challenges. What I like is that there is actual stakes to this show. Like, it's not just like, oh, you can leave if you think you want to. Like, it's not like that. Like, they actually do have some stakes here. And I thought this was like, okay, this I can vibe with. Like, they pick someone to be the base commander, essentially like an HOH of sorts. And then they, do a mission, and then whoever doesn't perform the best ends up leaving. Like that works for me. I thought that was a good enough format. So,
I thought it was so cool. I like, because I wish, I kind of wish Beyond the Edge was similar, like had this and not just like leaving on their own terms.
Yeah, this is way more of what I wanted that to be. Like, I need a bit more stakes to it. And I feel like this is how they actually made something like that work. Like, this is much closer to what I wanted on that show.
Oh, for sure. Adam says they're all just working out their footing and no one actually wants the position.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is scrambling, trying to figure it out. They are also told the base commander will have use of their own sleeping quarters. Ultimately, it's decided Marshawn will be the space commander, and
he pretty much was like, he volunteered like immediately after hearing that. I was like, oh, okay, it's gonna be me. I want my own bed.
He's definitely like leader type, and also like main character energy.
Oh yeah.
Their first mission starts now. There's a 12th crew member trapped in a pod with dwindling oxygen. He is to choose 2 crew members, and their mission will be to rescue their stranded crewmate. The he chooses Lance and Ronda for this mission. They are able to successfully save the passenger, who is Natasha Leggero.
Yes, which she, I thought, also not a huge standout in this episode, but I think the next one she's really great.
Oh yeah, I agree. While this is happening, Richard tries to hack the radio to hear ESPN, but is told it is not available in their region.
Stuff like that is why this is working so well for me.
Oh, it's so good.
Funny moments.
Oh yeah. After rescuing her, they are told the crew has been safely contained, and Marshawn now has to assign all of the crew a duty to perform.
Well, I think I'm frozen.
You are?
On my end, I am.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
Okay, hold on.
Did you hear what I just said, though?
I did. You can talk a little bit more while I restart my computer.
I can wait. It's fine.
No, I don't want like, because I got to restart my computer and it's going to take like 4 minutes because it has to update. I don't want 4 minutes of just dead air. So you can just keep going.
Okay. It's frozen really funny. Also, Janaea, I know you said you'll be right back, but yeah, I hope your day is all right. We love you so much, and just try and relax today and just take a breather, and we're always here for you to talk and anything. We're always here for you. Any chance you need, like, we're always here for you to talk, and you can just vent to us always, and we love you, and you're an amazing supporter, and you're just such an amazing and sweet person. And as of right now, there's no viewers, but I hope you guys enjoy this. I'm just gonna like kind of just chat because like I don't want to read the notes until Kevin's back. And sorry, I'm also eating dinner slowly as well, just some lemon pepper wings. But yeah, I'll just wait and read the notes or continue the notes when he's back. But so far, the show's been super fun and like really surprising, honestly. Like it's definitely like stupid, but it's self-aware. Like it knows it is, but it's also like super fun and like I love it already. And I think there's another show we're going to be starting soon too. And also, of course, Claim to Fame, and then we'll catch up on The Mole. We'll do the next season, the recent season of The Circle, The Traitors, and then obviously Big Brother US, and we'll also do a BB24 review before BB25. So stay tuned for all that stuff. And we're gonna do a lot. But yeah, right now we're just trying to like cover some reality TV, of course, because to keep this podcast up to date and all. And I've just always loved doing this podcast. It's always been so much fun, and it's just so much fun talking about like all these fun shows, like, and it's just always amazing. And oh, hey, one viewer. We love you. And we're very proud and grateful that you watch this podcast because it's just so much fun doing this with Kevin. I'm just kind of rambling right now and just chatting with y'all until Kevin's back because he's just updating and fixing his computer, fixing his computer. But he'll be back shortly. And yeah. Yeah, we haven't done like I said, we'll be doing a BB24 review because we didn't get to do that. Like last time, like after the season, so we're just gonna do that before the new season. So look forward to that. Because obviously Big Brother's not till like August, so we have lots of time. But yeah, and then the other shows we're gonna be catching up on. Those are like gonna be season reviews, like The Circle, The Traitors, and The Mole. Those will just be a season review, and then this will be weekly. Same with Claim to Fame, all that fun stuff. Yeah, and obviously subscribe to Kevin's main channel. Yeah, we do some like movie and show reviews on there. And yeah. And how's everybody? I hope everyone's doing well. Drink your water. Please stay safe. When there's smoke, just stay inside. Or if you're outside, just wear a mask or just be very careful. Just please stay safe. We all, like, your health always matters.
What size is the cake product? This box that I have, it's a white and green box.
Kevin will be back shortly. He just had to fix his computer. He just texted me it's back now, so he'll be right back.
Yeah, the basement stuff I bought from you is the new dough. But the one box I had here from the original developer from whatever they're called, BT. One. You didn't have it at the time, I think.
Hello. I was just chatting with people and all because like I wanted to wait to talk to you.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, guess who's back?
I just wanted to wait to do the notes with you.
Okay. Where were we?
All right. After rescuing her, they are told the crew has been safely contained, and Marshawn now has to assign all of the crew to a duty to perform. Porsha and Tallulah will categorize the food and rations. They are told there will be resupply, and they must maintain through the biodome crops. Chris and Sherman will be in charge of counting the plants as well as maintaining fitness to prevent bone and muscle loss.
Right.
Porsha has no idea how Marshawn will get them information, whom he never is.
Yeah, he is very much like sleeping through most of the time. He seems much more excited about like his bed and things like that. So I don't know. I think he does a good job later on, but at first it's like, oh no, he's not a very good base commander.
I know. Marshawn then checks out his new bed and bathroom as base commander. He is told to oversee the base duties, but seems to be falling asleep.
Oh my god, it was so funny.
It was so funny.
When they were like, Marshawn, and he was just like asleep.
Oh, that was amazing.
Like peak reality TV. Absolute peak reality TV. Like you cannot
so
tell
iconic.
me that he was not fucking made for this kind of shit. Like oh my god, he's so good.
Oh yeah.
I can't sing the praises of Marshawn Lynch enough. I really can't.
I love him so much. Porsha and Tallulah are counting all the food that is almost all air stowed in bags with no stove or air fryer in sight.
Which is insane. Like, they literally can't cook anything. Like, it's all in bags.
I know. It's crazy. Sherman, Chris, and Tinashe are counting plants. Ariel and Adam are in charge of polishing the patches. Adam thinks it's something people may earn on a mission, and they bond over a love of folding things.
Yeah, which, I mean, we'll get more into the patches in a little bit, but Adam's very perceptive in thinking that.
They are told to all report for mandatory fitness. Lance and Marshawn are both cycling, and Marshawn makes fun of him being an athlete.
And can I just say, their rivalry right now is everything to me. I love their back and forth so much when they
keep it, please.
When he's like on the bike and Marshawn's like, "You're telling me you did this for like 3 years?" Like, it's so good. I love it so much.
I know.
It's just everything about those two. Like, I honestly could get a whole show of just those two bickering back and forth, especially something that happens later on. It's just amazing. I love their whole rivalry so much.
I know. Lance says he comes from an endurance sport, which is what this is all about.
Yes. So Marshawn then calls them all over and congratulates them all on a successful first day. And Christopher then sees Marshawn as a wild card and that you never know what he's going to say, but that he's an incredible commander. And Adam thinks that everyone is trying to feel everyone out, trying to figure out everyone's strengths and weaknesses and how they will all work together. I feel like almost every time we cut to him in this episode, he said the same thing. He's like, we're all just trying to figure everyone out. It's like, do you have anything else to say? Ronda says the previous experiments have failed because everyone cracks and that's their real strength and weakness. And she talks to Tallulah a bit. And I thought this was a good moment with Tallulah. She talks a bit about her parents and how amazing it was. And she really went inside of herself and went into a total dumpster fire, but now loves herself and her family. And Ronda wanted to see how far she was coping with it, since a lot of people don't have to deal with that experience. And Tinashe says her right here, like, she's seen as the quintessential Nepo baby and that she should absolutely own it. I thought this was a really good moment between the two of them. Cause I feel like Tallulah Willis, like, it's just like, oh, she's just Bruce and Demi's kid. She hasn't really had a chance to like be her own person. Now she kind of has an opportunity to do so. And I really like this moment between the two of them. I thought it was really good. And kind of Ronda being like, my daughter's probably going to go through the same thing at some point, where she's just kind of seen as like the daughter of Ronda Rousey. How do I make it so she's not like that? I thought this was a really sweet moment overall.
Oh, I thought it was too, honestly.
Yeah. So
it was like, Porsha, it was just so wholesome.
Yeah, so Porsha and Natasha bond over their kids a little bit. Lance and Marshawn are bonding over his Super Bowl wins. Again, just some really funny moments between them. And he's trying to figure out who wants to stay and talks about how strong Marshawn is and that he's not in any hurry to leave. And we get probably the funniest moment of the episode. It's such a mundane thing, but it's one of those things where it works so well. We see Lance asked to use Marshawn's bathroom, being weirded out by having to share it with all the other guys.
Oh, that's amazing. It was so funny.
And Marshawn is just like really fearful of it. He talked, as in his quote, he's like, he's worried about the lima bean shit that he may produce. Oh my God. Just so good.
That was hilarious.
And there's a follow-up moment with it in the next episode that we'll talk about. But like I said, those two, their rivalry is everything. I love them so much. So Ariel talks to Porsha, and she says that she realized she made a huge mistake on who Lance is, and she tells her to not take herself too seriously. And Ariel says that her fear coming onto the show was that she was going to say something stupid, and she thinks she literally outdid herself because of confusing Lance for Neil, which
that's so funny.
Is not that uncommon occurrence, considering there is somebody who has already done that. Not to name names, but somebody here might have already.
Not to name names.
Yes, not to name names.
I feel it's so awkward. I'm like, really? It's so embarrassing. It's so funny though.
Well, at least you own it. That's what's important. So
I can't believe I did that. I'm like, really?
I know. So they all sleep. Lance says that he doesn't think that they've really started to test themselves yet. Living in a confined space for weeks on end, he thinks that's where this thing is really going to start to unravel. So Natasha has no idea what's really in store for her, but she questions what she could really prepare her for Mars. And a voice then says, astronauts on Mars, you will deal with constant emergencies. And we get to another message from Captain Shatner. And he tells everyone that there is an emergency and there is a fierce Martian dust storm that is headed their way. It's already knocked over the communication satellite tower. And if they fail today, Earth is going to be destroyed. He then says that he read that wrong and that their link between Mars and Earth will be destroyed. Also, really funny recurring gag with him. I love that he tries to communicate with them and then he's like, I can't, there's a 17-minute delay. Stuff like that is really good. You can tell how, again, into it he is. But this mission is going to test their leadership skills and will earn them a mission patch if they succeed. He's downloading all the information for their base commander, and Tallulah is their mission specialist, and she will be safe from extraction. So she's very excited to be chosen as the mission specialist, and Tallulah and Marshawn are then told to remain at mission control while the crew should prepare for deployment. So Marshawn talks to her and says that he knows that there's going to be a lot of shit going on until it gets to a point where if it's too much, to not be afraid to let him know. He'll jump in there, but at the end of the day, all things kind of fall back on him, and he's going to be a reflection on her, so to make them both look good. So they then complete their emergency mission, and I will say right now, this is the weakest part of the show for me.
Yeah, it's not the worst. It's just kind of like, meh, it's just kind of there.
So the issue that I have, and I don't know if you agree with me, but and again, I said the production qualities are really well done here. It literally does look like they're in space, but the way that it's filmed, you can't really tell what's going on. Like they mention things are happening, but like you're not really, it's just the way that it's shot. It's done in a way where you just can't really tell. So yeah, this is the one part for me that I'm just not super into. I think they need to do a better job at filming the missions because right now it's edited in a way where it's so
hard to tell
things like that. It's just, and I think it's mainly the lighting. I think if the lighting was different, I think you'd be able to tell. Because right now, like this mission especially, I'm like, wait, what are they even doing here? Like I really couldn't tell. So. Yeah, I thought this particular part of the episode was not the strongest, at least for me.
Yeah.
So
they just need to like fix the lighting and stuff.
Fix the lighting, but also like make it clear what they're doing because like I just can't really tell. So Shatner then says that the mission was a success. He says that one of them must be extracted and the first to exit the simulation. The voice then says that the base commander must decide which 3 people were the least mission critical. So they both talk through, and Marshawn agrees that Porsha was very engaged in what was going on, and Tallulah thinks that Ariel was also very critical to the mission. So after sifting through a bit, Marshawn then picks who was mission critical, which are Porsha, Ronda, and Ariel. Natasha, Lance, and Richard and Tinashe, which means the 3 left are Tom, Adam, and Christopher. And they then each give a pitch for why they were mission critical. And I think the best way to describe this particular portion, it's almost like if you were to, because I already said base commanders like HOH and Big Brother, but imagine if you were HOH and then you did a comp and then you make your nominees. That's basically what this is. It's like,
it kind of is,
it's almost like if you're HOH, you go right into the veto, and then whoever performs worse in the veto, then that's how you determine your nominees. That's kind of what this portion is. We get 3 pitches from all of them. Christopher makes kind of a terrible pitch here. He says that there were 11 people on the field and that he was doing a favor by stepping out of the way because there were already too many people involved. And the crew is not agreeing with this at all. Tinashe is saying that she didn't agree with him and didn't know what he was doing. Ronda thinks that he simply just saw himself as a liability. He really doesn't do a good job explaining, like, what am I doing to, like, what value do I bring to the crew?
He doesn't know.
Explain that at all. Adam gives also a very brief pitch, but a really memorable one where he says he's one of the hottest people here and that's important for any kind of challenge that they do, which, I mean, they all pretty much agree with. Like, there isn't much.
It was funny.
They all just kind of agreed. Natasha also sympathized with him because they both didn't know what to do and weren't really hoping. So you can tell that I think Natasha and Adam are going to be people who want, like, the simplest stuff possible because they're just not, like, that confident. So I think you can definitely see that. Tom then compares himself to superhuman strength, which he had for one moment, and they all agree he was very much in the game, and with that, he is safe. So it then comes down to Chris and Adam, and ultimately they decide that Christopher was the least critical, meaning that Adam is still safe. Christopher is then told to leave the hab immediately and tells them to all find him on Instagram. Which
right?
I don't understand why he was here. Like, it just felt like he didn't really want to be here. Out of everybody, I'm glad he was the first boot, because I just feel like
I didn't hate him, but he was probably just like there just because like maybe for the money.
Nothing better to do. Yeah, it just felt like he just didn't really want to be there. Like, he didn't really bring.
Yeah, I agree.
And as much as I love Christopher Mintz-Plasse as an actor, I just felt like he didn't really bring much to the table here. So I'm kind of glad that he was the first boot. I didn't feel like he brought much to the show at all. So he says that he's not ready for Mars and doesn't think any of them except for Ronda, who can fight aliens. I thought that was kind of a funny moment. And then the episode ends with Marshawn basically joking around with Sherman that he needs to stop like talking over him. I thought that was kind of a funny moment. But that's what we get in episode 1. I thought it was a pretty solid start, but I got to say, I thought episode 2 was even better. It made a better case for what this show is really going to be and really just like the potential that it has overall. So we start off here. Everyone wakes up. They prepare for a new day on Mars. Tom is hoping for no emergencies, and that's a nice chill day, which Adam says he'd beg for that to happen. Tom feels that this is going to be hard for a month, and Adam expects that they'll all be doing something. And Tom says that the first mention is Tom says that the first mission was absolute pandemonium and that they're all exhausted, and he's just hoping there's no emergencies, but he knows that one is probably going to happen. So Ronda is in the biodome making a compost, and Sherman asks if she needs any help. He helps her water some plants and tend to the carrots. And he says that he's very nervous about the food situation, that they don't have enough rations to last as long as they need, but that it's really cool they're growing stuff because he's never done it in his life, and there's nothing familiar about any of this being so far away from home. I'm just wondering, like, what happens when they run out of the food? Like, I'm interested to see what that mission is going to be. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But Tallulah then brings up how they've had 2 days with Marshawn as base commander, and that is coming to an end. So I like that, again, you get to change, different, you get to change different, base commanders and things like that. I
think it's like such a cool idea.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's basically like HOH, but it's like if the HOH didn't even have to play a comp, you get to choose it yourself. So,
yeah, kind of. It's a little different, but it has similarities.
In the sense that, like, they're safe, they have their own bedroom and things like that. Like, it's kind of the same thing, but not quite.
Yeah.
It's different enough to where you can't say this is just like this. And that's what I like about this so far, is that there's enough differences to where it still feels like something different. So Tom says that being commander is a status symbol. It's like having a Rolls Royce on Mars. And Marshawn says that he doesn't think that anyone would doubt him as a commander. He's going to stay right where he is. And if he has to delegate to certain individuals to get shit done, it just makes sense. So he doesn't want to leave. He thinks that he can just be base commander forever. And
he's like, just keep me here.
I love his cockiness. I love that he's just like, yes, give me base commander.
Like, he's not even like cocky in like a rude way or like
no, it's just funny.
Like in a funny way.
Lance then brings up once again, and like I said, we had this great moment in the last episode involving the bathroom, and Lance once again asked if he can use Marshawn's bathroom. He once again says no, but he decides, you know what, I'm just going to use it. He's not comfortable with how the whole bathroom situation is, and Marshawn is not too pleased about this at all. He has this great moment with Richard Sherman where he says, like, if any doo-doo, in his quote, doo-doo stains are in his toilet, he's going to... Again, just give me more of this rivalry. It's
can like Marshawn and Sherman and Lance and Ariel just be the final 4, and also Tom, God, and then just put Tom in there for final 5.
Please, that'd be so good. Tallulah feels that they need a bit less frenetic energy, so everyone's nervous systems are a little calmer, and she'd love to be in a leadership role. So Ronda says that she was inspired to be a part of this because she always wanted to be an astronaut, so she'd love to be base commander. And then Tom doesn't think he has any shot at being base commander after being the bottom 3 last mission, that he simply just may be a little too passive, which I feel like that's going to be his problem right now, is that, he is too passive.
I don't think he's going to go yet, but I definitely don't think he's winning.
I don't think he's making it super far, at least based on what we've seen. But
he's definitely like after this episode, he was pretty good.
Yeah. Well, aside from one thing he does that was kind of bad, but
yeah.
Everyone at this point is kind of like fighting for base commander, and Allie's going to talk about how it all shakes out.
All right. It's time to pick a new base commander, which Marshawn is annoyed about and jokingly offers to wrestle someone for the position. And Ronda decides to fight him for base commander. Oh my god,
I love that she was actually going to do it.
It was so funny. Ronda wins, obviously, but everyone still wants to put it to a vote. And Tinashe volunteers as she has felt underestimated in this competition thus far. And she'd like the opportunity to prove herself as base commander.
And I was like, yes, we haven't seen enough of Tinashe. Give us all.
I know.
But it doesn't quite turn out that way.
Yeah. Sherman thinks they should split up in groups to talk about this.
Which is exactly what they do.
Yep. Marshawn talks to Ariel and Porsha for why he should be commander, and he says he is here to let them complete missions, and Porsha says they need to do so efficiently. Ariel makes it clear to him that he will not be voted back as commander, despite him begging and pleading for it. She feels that he simply doesn't put enough effort in, which is really hard on the team.
Yeah, I thought it was really funny, like just how badly he wanted it, and she's just like,
yeah,
that's not an option.
I know. Porsha says Tinashe has been in the field and has had the experience and now is in the house, and so they know what they're going through on the ground and is in here, which they all agree is a good point.
Which honestly, like, why wasn't Tinashe base commander? Like, that's a perfect
reason
why it should be her. I just don't understand why she literally volunteered. Like, I don't know why it wasn't Tinashe here, but
yeah, that would have been cool, honestly.
That's not what they end up doing.
Oh, Zach Schmidt said, I started watching it. I love this show.
It is a lot of fun so far. I
agree. Good. Meanwhile, Tallulah talks to Tom and Adam about her being promoted to base commander, and she says the way Marshawn worded it, she was the one really running it and in control of everything. Adam agrees she was so clear, and Tom thinks she'd be a great commander.
Yeah, and I mean, she did do a really good job on that mission, but as we've seen this episode, that might not translate to being a great commander. We'll get into it.
Ronda talks to Natasha and Lance, and she says Tallulah has already proved how encouraging and articulate she could be as base commander. Natasha thinks it would be fun to watch her shine, but Ronda is worried if she was out on the mission, she'd be distracted by the butterflies and they'd never see her again.
Which, yeah, I mean, I feel like Tallulah is just like, she's all about the good vibes and she's all about just, like, positivity. So she'd be like, oh my God, a butterfly.
Right. It's then time to vote on the next base commander. Porsha says in this experiment, it's so funny because it's a social game where they spend so much time in the hab together and they have to build that social bond, but they're also all competing against each other.
Which, again, that's what's exciting about it. It's not like yes, there's a title for one of them, but it's still like a social game in that way. Like, they're still trying to figure out, like, who has the leadership skills, who's good on the crew, like who can endure the harsh realities of being on Mars. Like, there is legitimate stakes to this show, and I feel like that's what makes it exciting.
Oh, definitely. After a long period of deliberation, it's ultimately decided Tallulah will be the new base commander, and she's feeling very celebrated and loved and is very excited.
Yes. Which initially I was like, okay, this is a great choice. I mean, she seems like she's super articulate. She seems like she's doing a fine job. And then we'll get into how it really goes.
We'll get into it. Porsha asks if she's going to take the commander suite, and Tallulah says she loves sleeping in the bunk already with all the girls, which means Marshawn can keep his own room, which he's thrilled about. He thinks she's a great choice because she's overcame so much, and this is the perfect spot for her.
I'm so excited to see, like, just the arc of, like, Marshawn always wanting the bedroom, because it seems like in the next episode he still wants to, like, hog the room, and they're like, you're not base commander anymore, get out of there.
It's so funny.
So I'm interested in seeing if he's going to be able to actually, like, keep that room.
Oh yeah. Lance thinks she has a unique way about her, and they all thought the physical stuff would be a little harder for her. Adam is worried that because she's so authentically herself and so quirky and lovely, this could go horribly wrong.
Which wasn't a bad assessment, because let's talk about how this shakes down. So Natasha talks about how they're all wanting to figure out what to do because Tallulah has literally been napping ever since she was crowned and waiting for her as a gift because she wants to get to know her fellow teammates. And we get this really good moment with Tom. And look, I know jack shit about Vanderpump Rules. I know jack shit
I've seen like a few episodes. I haven't seen the whole thing though, but I've seen a bunch.
I don't know anything about his friendship with Tom Sandoval. I don't know anything about that. But like I said, I think they did enough in this to where, okay, I understand what he's going through. I don't feel like I have to watch another show to understand this. So she bonds with Tom over a friend who watches Vanderpump Rules, and he talks about how most people say that the show helps out their relationship and helps put their relationship into perspective when they watch the train wreck that is their lives. And she talks about his friend Tom Sandoval, and he says that Sandoval had a torrid affair, and it's horrible because he feels complicit as if he didn't cover for him, but he had his back since he confided in him that he was in love with someone else, and this affair really kind of swept the nation. It's incredibly messed up, but the thing is, he's kind of become mired in it, and it's been a huge source of angst in his life, and he's been in this extended funk and now has gotten divorced, and he'll take most of the responsibility for that. But for whatever reason, now that he's divorced, he feels so much more broken because he liked being married, and though the pandemic was rough, he feels it was really good for their marriage despite it ending in divorce. And I just thought this was a really good moment for Tom. Like, you see that he wanted to stick by his friend, but he can't really do it anymore.
I feel like he's getting like, he'll get the underdog at it kind of thing.
Yeah, I think so too. And I like what he talks about, I don't really know how to feel right now because of the divorce. Like, I kind of feel broken. Yeah. So this kind of gives him like you understand now what he's saying when he's saying like, I wanted to get away from the drama. Like, he wanted to get away from all of that. And I feel like he's really going to come into his own throughout this season. And I think we're seeing that.
Actually, should get away from Tom Sandoval.
Definitely. So Tallulah finally wakes up, which is like, thank God. She's not just going to sleep the whole time. So she's told that it's time for her to assign base duties. So she brings hold on one second.
You're fine. What happened?
Okay, there we go. Never mind.
Wait, what happened?
I've got a text.
Oh, okay.
But basically, she brings everyone in who at first seemed to be very distracted. I love that she needed Sherman to alert everyone on what was going on. So she thanks them for picking her and tells them which duties that they will be performing. Tom and Ariel are going to be in charge of cleaning the solar panels and keep power flowing to the hab. And Porsha and Lance are going to acquire to conduct health and well-being checks. And I don't know about you, but this was one of my favorite parts of the episode. Porsha and Lance,
so good.
Just being in charge of this, not really knowing what they were doing, I thought was just such a highlight. Basically, she says that she put them in charge of doing wellness checks because there's nothing more important than the well-being of the entire crew. Again, she's all about the good vibes. She's all about the positive mental health, which is great. But I feel like as a base commander, you also need to care about the safety and things like that. Definitely. And I just feel like she doesn't focus on the right things here. Like, that's really her biggest issue, commander. So Porsha and Lance go over their duties. They start by taking the blood pressure of various crew members. We get this great moment with Marshawn where he tells them that this is incorrect and that 119.81 usually means dead. And she says that she doesn't hear anything. He says it's because she doesn't have the damn thing in her ears and that they're all dead. And she then takes Tallulah's temperature, which is fine. Again, just so many great moments with Marshawn. Just give me all Marshawn, honestly.
Please.
So Tallulah says that she's feeling very well rested and grateful for this mission. Natasha talks about how open Tallulah is and how she very much anticipates needs, which is an excellent quality in a leader, which is rarely something that you really see. So Lance asks Adam how his happiness has been in a scale of 1 to 10. He says it's a 10 because he's never been happier. That was kind of a wholesome moment, I thought, where he's like, I've never been happier in my life.
That was so wholesome.
Meanwhile, we have Ronda and Richard Sherman, who are told their task is to fertilize the crops. She loves getting dirty with the plants, which gives her time to harness her chi and take deep breaths and kind of watch things grow. So we get this moment with Ariel and Tom, and it's kind of a crucial moment for something that happens later in the episode. But she asks how he's feeling, and he says that he's so grateful to be here, but Mars sucks. And they go over to the solar panels, and she says that she's struggling and it's difficult to kind of step out of her comfort zone, but they're doing it. And she says that life on Mars is as hard as the suit's over half her body weight, and she's trying to clean something because she's way too short for this. And she says she'd much rather be commander because this is a what the fuck if she's ever had one. They finish cleaning and then prepare for decontamination. So we then get this emergency message that the water pressure is critical. One of the tanks literally end up bursting. So we're like, oh God, what's about to happen? So, and again, just the production quality is so good here. They really make it seem like this is an actual tank. They make it seem like the water is actually like on its last legs. Like they do such a great job with making this feel like as lifelike as possible. I'm very impressed by the production quality on this show. So
me too. So good.
Tom is going to take a shower after what happened, but he realizes that the water isn't working, and they literally have no running water at all. They're kind of at a deficit here. So they get a new message from Captain Shatner, who tells them that there's been a steam eruption at the HAB's exterior water filtration unit, and as a result, their water supply has already run out. The good news is that there's frozen water locked away deep under the surface of Mars. The bad news is they have to be the ones to get it, and it's not going to be easy. He tells them that Tallulah is in charge and will determine who's mission critical and who is not. And if they fail, she is also going to be up for extraction as well. And the mission will determine their leadership skills and will earn them a mission patch. She also has to choose a mission specialist, and Porsha says that they need to choose someone that is the real deal alongside Tallulah. And you can see immediately she's like not very confident about Tallulah as base commander.
No.
And, Tallulah is hoping that she can do a really good job and needs a mission specialist who is a team player. Natasha volunteers, and because she gets her and is her bunkmate, and she can translate when she gets too quirky, and no one can really tell what she's talking about, even though she's the main person in charge. Tallulah then decides to appoint her. And Natasha says that she really only did this because she doesn't want to go out on Mars. She just kind of wants to order people on the microphone.
Oh, that was so funny.
Natasha is definitely like the star of this episode for me.
Oh, she was great.
I thought she was great.
Yeah, definitely.
I was a big fan of her.
I definitely think I definitely think I think this was a good episode for like Tom and Natasha for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
It's time for the emergency mission. Tallulah and Natasha have to choose 2 members of the crew to rappel down into the caves to pump water up. They select Adam, Ariel, and she asks if everyone else is comfortable, but Marshawn says he won't be worried about what's inside the cave, so he decides to switch with Adam. Porsha says she has a real fear of heights, so she's really worried about this, which she thankfully overcomes.
Which I will say, this emergency mission, I thought they did a better job of showing what was happening. Again, I just thought that they could have done a better job of showing like what everyone is doing, because I was honestly very confused into like who's doing what.
Yeah.
But we'll come back to, you know, what the decision is to switch Adam and Ariel in a second. But it definitely is a pretty big part of this episode.
Oh, definitely. While at first it seems the water is being filled up properly, one of the pipes ends up bursting, and Ariel says if she knew how physical it was going to be, she may not have switched with Tom. Tom also misspoke, saying at first it was 3.5 buckets, but when in actuality it was 2.5.
I just don't know how he got confused. Like, you literally have to count to 4. How do you get 2.5, 3.5 from 2.5? I just don't get it.
I can't. Natasha says this is why she wanted Ariel on top. She's super smart and doesn't think she would have messed this up.
Yeah, Natasha definitely should have been like in charge of this more, because like she
also
definitely...
I think right now I would say the final 2 is probably Ariel and Marshawn.
I could see that. I could definitely see that.
Because they're both very strong.
Yeah.
Marshawn starts to fill up the 3rd bucket with 10 seconds remaining, the ice deposit has been depleted and the mission has failed.
Right. So we actually get to see what a failed mission looks like in this episode.
Right? Tinashe feels the switch happening was a big fumble on Tallulah's part. Tallulah is told to go to the outer airlock, and Natasha is now in charge.
Yeah, which, I mean, there's no one you can really blame at this point other than Tallulah, the person that was supposed to be in charge. Like, she shouldn't have had this switch happen in the first place. Like, it didn't really make sense.
Tallulah feels she let everyone down, and it also means no patches will be rewarded. Porsha doesn't think they should send her home because of just how sweet and genuine she is. Shatner tells Natasha it's now time to figure out who has mission critical. She first names Ariel, Tinashe, Sherman, Ronda, Porsha, Adam, and the last person is Lance.
Yes.
Lance says if he had to pick an MVP for the team, it would be him.
And can I just say, I love that she called him, I think she called him like Lance or something like that.
Lance.
That was Lance. And then when she was calling William Shatner like Shatner Daddy, I thought that was also like Shatty Daddy. I thought that was also really funny.
That was hilarious. I love that so much. Which means Tom and Marshawn are in the bottom 3 alongside Tallulah.
Yes, so we get their pitches here.
Tallulah says she cares about everyone's experience and how they feel, but that may not help them complete the mission.
I thought this was an awful pitch. Like, I thought she did nothing here to really show, like,
what
value does she have. Like, I think she focused way too much on just, like, making sure everyone was okay mentally. She didn't think about, like, physically, like, how are we going to get out of this? Like, there's a little bit more to focus on than just that, and I think that compromised everything.
Yeah, she kind of just, like, she was off to a sort of strong start-ish, and then she just, like, really went downhill in this episode.
Yeah.
Marshawn says he simply did his part of the mission. Tom says, although he misspoke, but he's kind of a glass half full kind of guy, and that was just him being positive. Richard feels there isn't a reason to kick him off.
I don't think any of these pitches were good. Like, all of them kind of sucked, but they were like.
No, I feel like if I had to say the best one, it'd probably be Tom's, but I mean, none were that good.
Yeah, Tom at least explained himself. Marshawn was just like, listen, I did my part. I have no reason to be here.
Yeah. They decide as a crew Marshawn was mission critical.
Yeah,
it's now
he didn't really do anything wrong.
Yeah. It's now down to Tom and Tallulah, and it's ultimately decided that Tom is mission critical, meaning Tallulah must leave the hab immediately.
Yep.
Which is, like, it's sad because I really enjoyed her. It's just this episode really, like, wasn't that good for her.
Yeah, I wasn't too surprised. Like, I thought at first, like, when the episode was starting off, it was like, oh, Tallulah's in a really good spot. And then I think it was just I think it's like, it's what happens when you put someone in a position and they have no business being there. Like, Tallulah should have never been in this position of power because she just wasn't really ready to handle it. And I think if, like, Tinashe or, like, Natasha, maybe even Ronda was there, I think this would have gotten much better for them. So I think she just really kind of just, like, wasn't ready for what was really going to happen.
Agreed. Tinashe feels she was the only person they could all blame.
Yeah.
Tallulah says, and I'm sorry?
Yeah, I mean, she's right. Like, there's really no one else to blame here.
Yeah, agreed. Tallulah says the most challenging part for her was really underestimating the physical abilities needed for the missions that created a lot of anxiety and panic for her. And not only did she make it work and find leadership capabilities within herself that weren't there, she found joy and deep connections with people, and she is proud of herself, which is nice.
Yeah, I thought there was, she definitely did accomplish a lot. And I did think that she had an interesting sort of arc. And I think she kind of came into her own in this show. Again, I just think that her being base commander really just kind of fucked up her game.
Oh, yeah. That was not good for her at all.
Yeah.
Though they are still low on water, there is just enough for everyone to shower, but they're unsure what's going to happen next.
Yeah, they still don't have much water. Like, let's get into that. They still don't have, like, any water, like, at all.
Which is not good because they need that to live too.
Yeah. Apparently next episode there's gonna be like a fire, so we'll see what happens there.
Oh God, it's gonna be
overall,
interesting.
though, I thought this was a pretty solid start. I like what we're getting on this show. I think we have a really fun cast. I think there's a lot of fun dynamics here. I will say I want to see more from someone like an Adam Rippon. I feel like we haven't seen enough of him.
I also think Ronda for sure.
Ronda, Tinashe, especially though, for me, it's like
Tinashe a little bit too. Like, we've gotten some from her. I just want to see a little more.
Yeah, but, like, other than that, I think they did a pretty good job in this episode of giving everyone, like, at least something. And I will definitely give them that. But yeah, overall, I thought this was a really solid start. I like where this is all headed. And I think if they're able to keep this up, I think this could be the kind of show that like, people start off kind of hesitant, but I think really kind of like, garners a fan base throughout the season. I think this is definitely one of those kind of shows. So overall, I'm really liking this so far.
Yeah, me too. It's actually like really enjoyable, very entertaining, and just super fun. And definitely, like it's like I said, it's super self-aware that it's stupid. So it's like I love it.
Definitely. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for everything we want to say about the show. Before we end things off, you mentioned this before. We are eventually, I think literally next week, we have Claim to Fame coming back. So very excited for that.
So we'll do that weekly. We'll do this weekly. And then what was the other one? Secret Chef? Is that what it's called?
Well, it's not going to be weekly because it's the whole season.
Okay. So I guess that'll just be a season review then.
Yeah, but we are going to try out Secret Chef because it looks absolutely insane. It's literally about a talking animated hat guiding them. They have no judges. They have to judge themselves on the food. Like, it looks wild. I really want to check it out. But yeah,
and then of course, stay tuned for The Circle, The Traitors, and The Mole.
Yeah. But yeah, I think overall there is enough here to where I can say, okay, we can do this weekly. I wasn't sure at first, but I think we got enough in these first 2 episodes to where I'm fine making this a weekly. We
literally had 7 pages of notes for the first 2.
Well, it was the first 2 episodes, so that's probably why. But yeah, look forward to our coverage on Claim to Fame. Look forward to our coverage on other shows. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it for this installment of A Conversation with Kely. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap this up here?
Just stay tuned for the rest of this season, and then our other shows, and yeah, and of course we'll do BB24 before 25.
Yeah, eventually. But other than that, guys, that's it for this video. As always, if you have seen the show, comment down below. Let us know what you guys think of it so far. Honestly, having a very fun time with it, especially just give me all the Marshawn Lynch and Lance Armstrong rivalry. That is making the show for me right now. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And remember, couples who podcast together, stay together. We will see you guys later. Have a good night.
Have a good night, guys. And day.